Alright guys, welcome to the video. Very simple, we're going to do a review of the character for not just high level play, but just a bit of the fashion review, stuff like that. And I take into account lower levels of play, a bit of mid-level stuff here and there. But it should apply pretty much across the board, the points I'm making. So if you're, whether or not you play in tourneys or whatever, it doesn't matter. Or if you're just interested to know. So first off, his hitboxes. He basically has, when we talk about hitboxes, we're talking about the ability to hit someone externally that you're not locked onto, right? So easiest example, there's someone standing behind you, you press Kensei zone, you're not trying to hit the guy in front of you, you're trying to hit the guy behind you or the guy on your right. So Sunday, being a team fighter kind of character, he's got none on his light attacks, which is okay on openers and stuff like that. You know, you can't expect every attack to amazing external hitbox and stuff. It depends on the hero's design and the intent, but he's clearly a team fighter. But his light attack openers and finishers are very poor hitbox externally, very weak, bad, I would go as far to say. On heavies, they're also poor. I know I watched Freeze's video, I know he described them as weird. I'd just say bad. They're bad. On his top, which you don't expect a lot on top externally, of course, on there, not expected. On his right side, it's bad. On his finishers, left side, it's good. It's actually pretty good on his finisher left side. Like, it's a nice one. His zone hitbox is good at undodgeable zone, but it's less efficacious than you would expect. But I mean, it's okay. It's good. After that, we have recoveries. So Sunday has some nice, good recoveries, as all heroes should have in most places. But there is some serious drawbacks, whether they be low or they could be cancelled, something else. Those ones are fine. On his heavy finishers, however, the recovery is poor and can be reaction bashed, reaction GB'd in some cases. Imagine reaction dash tagged. There's a lot of reaction punishes for them across the roster. So that's not only are they easy to reaction punish, I mean, they're pretty easy to avoid, you know. The attack in the first place that has the long recovery on it, and which is his main tool for team fighting, is those finishers. Much like Zhang Jun's main tool for outputting damage in team fights and those kinds of scenarios are his heavy finishers. This pales in comparison to most other heroes with long weapons, but our moveset for this sort of things, such as Nobushi, Zhang Jun, Kensei, albeit Kensei's recoveries and finishers are bad, he has good hitboxes leading up into that. All of the above are far more incentivized to assert themselves onto teamfight scenarios. Those characters where larger weapons are generally better. After this, we have damage. Short one. The damage in here is pretty standard. It's not really weak. It's not really strong. The values feel pretty fair, to be honest. So, I mean, kudos on that. Then we have offensive pressure. This is where things start to get a bit even stickier when you put all this together at the end. In 1v1s at higher level, this hero's offensive pressure in the form of a single attack or mix-ups is very weak, and the risk reward is greatly skewed against him. In 4v4s, his offensive pressure in 2v2 or more scenarios is also weak, and this is due to the hitbox and recoveries previously mentioned. At lower level on 1v1s or on console, his 1v1s will be better due to input delay and lower reaction times, 400 ms attacks existing, and, you know, differentiating between the 600 ms light unblockable finisher and the heavy finisher. But I believe he will struggle against heroes with good defensive layers or offensive pressure, even at this level. After this, we got feats. I do have a bit of extra stuff to say about feats here, just to give a bit of context. Feats are undervalued right now, I feel. I myself didn't and sometimes don't take them into account enough at times, and their effect on a hero's ability to perform in team modes. They're also severely underdeveloped in the game as a means of encouraging various playstyles in 4v4 that grants the freedom to encourage a different way of playing that 1v1 scenarios cannot, due to a limited optimal way of playing there. Sure, again, at lower levels you will see players use heroes in various ways, but this is due to the skill level being played at and not the freedom of playstyle the design encourages. Anyways, to cut the long and short of it, his feats are on the weaker side. His unique feats combined are interesting and pretty fun. I like the imagination of design, and they do encourage a certain kind of playing. His alternative feats, however, are mostly bad or lackluster in most cases. Take Berserker for example, you can run Trap Zerk or Anti-Gank Zerk depending on your feats. Those initial two particularly, Bounty Hunter Revenge attacks or Stun Trap Bear Trap. This alters your playstyle in a fun and meaningful way. One encourages a strong area denial type of play in team modes. The other encourages a risky offensive style of play, attempting to wrestle control from the opponent team. I would like to see more of this in game, with each hero having at least 3 kinds of macro playstyles dependent on feat setup. For Sunday and the type of hero he is, lacking the likes of Second Wind, Phalanx, Smoke Bomb, Body Count and more, that kind of thing is severely detrimental to his overall viability and variety of playstyle at higher levels of play, as well as the optional playstyles players could potentially enjoy on him. It's just unfortunate. Feats are absolutely undervalued. I hope they get looked at. Not just for him, but for everybody. After that, ganking. The hero's not a gank enabler, such as Shaman, and that's fine. I mean, it's not intended design. Like, it doesn't fit the design. That's okay. It will function much more like Jang Jun does in ganks. I imagine with people making use of the unblockable finish to join in, or just a simpler regular heavy for your team on your teammates bash into opponents. For fashion, this is a fun part. It's really good. His fashion is great. I love it. It's one of the main reasons to play the hero, and it's just cool as fuck, to be honest. Next up, we have Flow. An under-discussed topic. Not mentioned, you know, it kind of gets overshadowed. The flow of a hero is the ability to move from one action to another without it feeling clunky or awkward. Nice, smooth transitions between everything. And I'm not talking about animations. I'm talking about the responsiveness. It's kind of like a flow chart. If you think of a flow chart, like going from one thing to another, maintaining offense or maintaining defense with a variety of actions, and, you know, moving in and out between all those things. A good example of this is Nobushi. Prior to her changes, her flow was excellent, super stylish. I just got distracted by my dog. It felt responsive and fun, and it's something I'd like to see everyone have in their own form within the context of each hero's moveset. After her changes, she feels clunky due to the increased delay between the actions. I'm sure many of you have noticed this, causing her to feel unresponsive. Sunday's flow feels good and the hero is stylish and enjoyable. I imagine JJ players, Nobu players, Kensei players, Tandy players, and anyone who likes a stylish character, good fashion, nice flow will enjoy him the most. Next up we have defensive layers. So defensive layers can be understood as the various levels of option selects or mechanics that improve a hero's defense. You have to get through them to, you know, hit your opponent. Examples of this is like Conquerors, lots of defensive layers, Black Prior, Lawbringer, those kinds of heroes. For Sunday, he's similar to about Tiandi in terms of his defensive layers and strength. It's not unreasonable, although quite basic. He can make use of Seer block and dodge cancels relatively well, I feel. I mean, this is neither bad nor good, but important to note. Next up, we have Chase. I don't know how much people talk about Chase, but they certainly do at tournament level a lot. But Chase is the ability to close the distance in you and a fleeing opponent. His Chase feels pretty okay with his dash light and dash heavy. Dash heavy tracking is all on the move after letting the move go. What I mean by this is after the feint window, his dash heavy will track a lot. If you feint it, you will move like 4 inches. So you don't like, you know, like Aramusha. You would dash forward heavy feint, dash forward heavy feint, and he like jumps forward each one closing distance. That doesn't happen here. All the tracking is after the feint window. So it's weird. His chase is lacking, although not entirely unreasonable. Dash forward light is an excellent short distance closer. I really like that one. The hero's no shaman, but he has right now somewhat acceptably good closing distance power, and his movement speed is solid, which is also taken into account with when you speak about Chase. Think Highlander trying to catch anyone running away from him, or Conqueror. Not really happening. After this, we have Punishes. Sunday's Punishes are heavy on GB for 30 damage, light on heavy parry for 15 damage, or zone for 20, I believe. And he's safe out of stamina parry and throw punish is 50 damage, with the max and unsafe, the stamina recovered opponent wake up punish, being 65 damage. While these are not really strong, generally speaking, they do feel quite fair, and confirmed punishes on opponents looking to make use of their moveset right now are too high in game. I'm looking at you, Lawbringer. which, by the way, is who I'll be maining for tournaments this season. So, you know, I'll be taking advantage of that. I wanted to include ease of play here. If people are wondering, can I pick it up? Is it hard to play? Whatever. So Sunday is a relatively straightforward hero and should be pretty easy for anyone to pick up and play. He relies on the player's fundamental skills quite a lot, so you're going to live and die on those. You can't like rely on a very easy aspect of his moveset to carry you at a certain level of play. However, he is skewed towards a defensive playstyle due to his design, and players who are skewed towards being patient and playing slowly rather than aggressively, they will be better at this character than others. And that's due to the lack of offense that we spoke about earlier. This goes for most of the cast, to be fair, but his lack of offensive pressure beyond mid-level play in both 1v1 and teamfight scenarios is quite concerning. He won't take long to learn, and with his stylish flow should be enjoyable in casual play and higher level play for many. So that's kind of my overall review of the character. I would say he's weak. He's weak in 1v1. He's weak in team modes. He's a cool hero. It's really cool. The moveset feels fun and nice flow, although a bit clunky in places. The character's looks and fashion are great. The intended design of the hero is pretty good, but should be more enjoyable than he will be in practice. He is let down by some serious drawbacks, but these are not unsalvageable whatsoever. With some relatively simple changes, you can look to him to be much stronger mechanically in the future when adjusted with enough sufficiency. Hopefully his feats will be looked at, not just him, but feats in general, but he's specifically right now definitely need to be looked at. They are very, very underdeveloped aspect of For Honor's design. I'd recommend the hero for fun. For fun reasons, I would recommend him. For winning tournaments, I would not. So that's the long and short of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Subs, likes, blah, 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 and all that jazz. YouTube loves big companies and not individuals. So I kind of need those quite a lot. With that, I'll catch you later.
So you wanna be hardcore with your hat to the back, talking about the gaps in your raps, but I can't feel that hardcore appeal that you're screaming. Maybe I'm dreaming. This ain't Christopher Williams, still some MC got the feel one. Caps, I got the feel some.